So hi friends, I'm Yuvraj Gambali and today I'm going to teach you about cells. Yeah. So as soon as we hear the word cell, four or five questions come to our mind. But I've picked top three questions that come to our mind. As you can see, the first question is how many cells? Meaning how many cells are present in our body or how many cells are there in general, you can say. Second question, how small are cells or how large are cells? Most of you know that the cells are small as we have learned in lower grades. Yeah, so how small are cells? And the third question is what is the shape of cell? So I'm going to tell you these three questions within 2 to 3 minutes. Yeah, so just a second. Okay, now I'm with a marker. Now let's see. First question is how many cells are there? So for this, we have to see two things. The two things are first one. Yes. So unicellular and multicellular. So what are unicellular? Unicellular are organisms which have only one cell in them. You want examples? Bacteria. Yeah, most of the bacteria have only one cell in them. So now these organisms are known as unicellular or organisms. Unicellular organisms. Bacteria is one of the examples of unicellular organism. Uh, and then we have multicellular organisms. So there are many organisms with more number of cells than one. Like humans, we have many cells, to be approximate 37.2 trillion cells in our body. And mango tree, rose plant, or like all animals and plants which you can see are mostly multicellular, because bacteria and all you can't see them directly, right? Because they are microscopic, you can't see them directly. So the two are unicellular and multicellular. I am writing one of the examples of both. Like unicellular, I am writing bacteria, which is unicellular mostly. And then we have multicellular. In multicellular, we can write humans. Yeah, humans will be relatable because we are humans. And animals and plants, etc. Everything which you can see mostly is multicellular. Now, the second question we are going to answer: how small are cells? So, most of the cells are very small. Second, some cells are long. Third, some cells are large. Yes, some cells are there which are large. I'm going to tell you the examples, then you will understand better. So, which cells are small? Human red blood cells, you might have heard RBC, you might have heard WBC, or cells are there everywhere, right? So, most of the cells are small. So, I'm writing for example RBC, which is a small cell, which is really small, microscopic, you can say. And the second is long. Now, which cells are really long? The nerve cells in our body. You might know what are the nerve cells. So, I'm writing cells also. Okay. Nerve cells. Nerve cells are the longest cells in our body, which are really long, like from head to toe. Nerve cells are there. Some nerve cells are very long and large. Yeah, cells can be large, like eggs. Yes, eggs are large, but the largest cell is the ostrich egg. Yeah, so ostrich egg. The largest cell is the okay. Yeah, I thought I missed the H in ostrich. Yeah, the largest cells are ostrich eggs and normal eggs. That eggs we buy daily. That is a cell. That is not a tissue or something else. You might be thinking like that, but the fact is that they are cells. So they are the largest cells. The smallest are the RBC and WBC and most of the cells we know. nerve cells are the longest, means they're really long. The largest cells are the egg cells, and the largest cell is the ostrich egg. Yeah, that is the largest. Now, what is the shape? Yeah, this is a bit. I erased it with my hand. What is the shape of the cells? So, most of the cells are circular, like this, you might be thinking, but not always true. Some cells are there with a different shape. Like in examples only, I have given something. Let me write one more example in small WBC, because we have that in the shape of the cells. So, if you remember here, you can easily remember here also. So, let's come from here, okay? So, what is the shape of RBC? First, we are going to discuss about that shape of RBC. So, RBC. So, RBC, the shape of RBC cell is biconcave. Biconcave, most of you might be knowing what is concave. Concave means one side is bulged and one side is small. I think I drew it really small. Uh, I know they are small, but I can't draw them small. Then you will not be able to see. That was a joke. Yeah, yeah, like bulged out on this side, or like this, you can say, like they're hollow here. I mean, hollow meaning, yeah, hollow on one side and bulged out on the other side. You might see some mirrors and all in this shape, biconcave. You may come across this term. I'm erasing it because I didn't draw it that well. That's why I'm erasing. Yeah. So biconcave, just remember that biconcave, as I told you, bulged on one side. This is the first. Then we have WBC. WBC are amoeboid in shape. Like unicellular, you can include amoeba also. It is also unicellular, only one cell. I remember just now. Yeah. So WBC are also amoeboid in shape. Amoeboid in shape. Yeah, amoeboid meaning they have a unique shape like this. Now this is funny, but yeah, most of the amoeba are like that. I'm erasing it again, the same reason. Yeah, so it's amoeboid in shape. I'm sorry, I'm moving a lot, I think. Yeah, they're amoeboid in shape. That's it for WBC. Amoeboid meaning, like as you might have studied earlier, amoeba does not have a specific shape. It is like jelly like, and yeah, does not have a specific shape, but amoeboid, yeah, this is the shape, you can say. And then we have nerve cells. So nerve cells. Now nerve cells are cylindrical. Yeah, you can say cylindrical. Nerve cells are cylindrical. Uh, the nerve cell is like quite large, like this, like this. It has some dendrites. It has some. Just a second. The place was not enough. I'll draw it again. It is not like this. It's curved, but yeah. They're like this. I'm drawing so that you can remember easily. Now you might say, how is it cylindrical? But yeah, it's cylindrical like this. Here it is not. Okay, it's cylindrical like this, and it has some terminals here. I know it. It is axon. You will learn later. Yeah, yeah. So this is a nucleus here. So this is a rough diagram of nerve cell. It is okay. 3 points. It is cylindrical. tube-like, you can also say tube-like. Yeah. Now three I've told you shapes of cells: RBC biconcave, WBC amoeboid, and nerve cell cylindrical. The fourth cells are guard cells of stomata. I'm writing guard cells. Now these guard cells are beside the stomata, like where can I draw here? Here, like this is the stomata and these are the guard cells, as you can see. This is the stomata and these are the guard cells around it. Now the guard cells are of a simple shape which you can remember very easily. They are known as hope you get it. It's bean shape. Yeah. Now the guard cells are bean shape. Now just let's have a revision till here in just a second. How many cells? Okay, three questions. How many cells? In unicellular, single cell, bacteria example. Multicellular, many cells. In humans, you can say 37.2 trillion cells. Human cells. Yeah, that is how many cells. Now how small are cells? Small cells are RBC and WBC, which are very small, microscopic. Long cells are nerve cells, which are long, as I drew here. Large cells are egg cells and ostrich cells. And what is the shape of cells? So RBC biconcave, WBC amoeboid, nerve cell cylindrical, and guard cell bean shape. So yeah, that were three main important cells. So hi friends, now as I told you what is a cell, the basics. So what were the three questions we answered? How large, how small is the cell? What is the shape of the cell, and how many cells are present? Those were the three questions we answered. Now see this diagram. This is the animal cell. Now we are going to examine it so that we can explain, so that we know what is a cell basically. Yeah, it is seeming very complex to you, but yeah, believe me, it's very simple. I'll explain you within 20 minutes or so. Yeah, so please concentrate. Okay, so first one meaning animal cell. So first, as we immediately look to the cell, we can see this outer layer, this outer layer, this outer layer, which you might think what is the use of it, it's just a boundary, but it has this many functions. Four functions I wrote. Yeah, four functions I wrote. There are more functions also, but for now, yeah, these four functions are important. Now let's see the first function of cell membrane. Now yeah, this is cell membrane, as I wrote here, you might know. Now the first point, it is a living membrane, meaning it is living and it is a membrane. What is a membrane? Membrane is a wall kind of structure of a cell which is located on its outermost, of an animal cell. It is the outermost part. Yeah, so that is a living membrane. Second, what is it made up of? So it is made up of lipoproteins. Now lipoprotein is a kind of protein, and this thing is made up of lipoproteins. As a cell wall, you might know, it is made up of cellulose. In the same way, this cell membrane is made up of lipoproteins. The third point is, what does it do? Means what is its function? So there are two functions of it. Most importantly, the first one and both of them are important, but we are going to learn the first one now, which is it provides flexibility to the cell, meaning it allows the cell to like contract and expand, you can say a bit, not much, but the cell can contract and expand. This is too small, I feel. Just a second. The cell can expand or contract or expand. Yeah, it can bulge or it can shrink, we can say, in other words. That is due to the cell membrane, which allows it to expand and contract. Now it has the fourth function which I wrote here, which is going to take time. I mean, which is the thing to explain, or else these 3 points are just to remember. But this thing has some explanation which I can give to you, so that you can remember it better and you can understand it. What does it mean? Not just like you're just remembering it or by hearting it, but you can also understand what does this thing mean. So semi-permeable, now also known as selectively permeable, you can say. Now what does this mean? So consider this to be a cell. Okay, I know this is a bit weird, but yeah, this to be a cell, and there are many nutrients and many dust particles or many things here. Okay, now as this cell membrane is there, it is there to protect the cell in one way, right? Because I told you in the starting, it is kind of a wall for the cell. What does a wall do? It protects us from unwanted things like dust and all. The walls protect the walls of our house, the walls, this wall, or you can say the walls in your house. What do they do? They protect us from wind, they protect us from dust, they protect us from many things, unwanted things which we don't want, like they protect us from insects and all. In this case, the cell wall, I mean the cell, needs only some things in it, like the nutrients. Okay, it will allow the nutrients because it is semi permeable, meaning something which allows only something to enter, and it denies something to enter. Yeah, so consider these to be nutrients. It will allow it to enter, and it will allow some things to exit also. Okay, but like these things are dust particles, majority of them, as we can see here, are dust particles. Now the cell, if the cell will allow those things also, then it is not good for the cell, right? So it won't allow it to come. It might happen that the nutrients are smaller in size than the dust particles. In that ways, the dust particles are not able to enter, and the nutrients are able to enter because they are smaller, so they are going, and the large things are not able to enter. Large dust particles are not able to enter. And another thing, it may be solubility. Yeah, as we will learn further ahead, the cell contains cytoplasm. Now these nutrients might be soluble in cytoplasm, but the dust may not be. Yeah, so that was the point. Semi permeable, meaning it does not allow, to be simple and precise, it does not allow everything to enter in it. It does allow some things to enter in it, like nutrients. And dust, it does not allow. I am taking dust as an example because it is very relatable. There are many things which the cell should not take in. Yeah, for that purpose the semi permeability is there. So hi friends, now as I told you the basics of a cell and cell membrane, about cell membrane, now I am going to tell you about cytoplasm, which is just after the cell membrane as we look towards the cell. Okay, so what is a cytoplasm? Before, what is a cytoplasm? Where is cytoplasm in this diagram? This thing, the emptiness which you can see is cytoplasm, because we can't draw cytoplasm because it's white in color. Yeah, so the emptiness is cytoplasm. No, don't write that in your exam. The emptiness is cytoplasm. Yeah, here I am telling, here the cytoplasm is this thing. Here I wrote, as you can see, not this, this body is mitochondria, this thing, this outer part is cytoplasm. Okay, so other than that introduction about cytoplasm, I can't give you anything better, but I can give you some functions of cytoplasm which are rather more important. Okay, so there are 4 functions of a cytoplasm. First one is, I mean, not functions but characteristics as well. Yeah, so the first one is, it is a semi liquid substance, meaning it's not a solid, not a liquid, it's semi liquid. Semi liquid, you might know. Semi solid, you might know. It's like jelly like substance, like that slime, maybe you know that slime, slimy substance it is. That's why we call it semi liquid substance. It is not completely watery, but it's slimy. Okay, now the second thing is many chemical reactions. are catalyzed, R is missing here, are catalyzed by enzymes. Many chemical reactions catalyzed by enzymes occur in it. Okay. Many chemical reactions catalyzed by enzymes occur in it. So yeah. So what are these chemical reactions? You might know in chemistry there are chemical reactions. Now which chemical reactions take place in it? This is the most important doubt you might feel. So as this is cytoplasm, the cell respiration also takes place in it. The first part of cell respiration, which is glycolysis, you might know, takes place in it, and the second also takes place in it, but not directly in it, but in mitochondria, which is Krebs cycle. You might have learned last year. This is not in this chapter, but I am giving you extra information. Yeah. So mitochondria, Krebs cycles takes place. Those are some chemical reactions which are taking place in it. In a plant cell, there are some protoplasts which lie inside the cytoplasm, like these bodies only protoplasts are also there, due to which photosynthesis also takes place. Like this is the key part inside. This is the matter inside which these all substances are present: the lysosomes, the Golgi bodies, the membrane, the nucleus, etc., etc., all are present in this. So in a way this is the base, and all the chemical reactions occurring in them is a part of it. Like many chemical reactions catalyzed by enzymes which are present in it. Okay. Now it contains several organelles and each has a specific function, which I already told. Like it contains most of the things you can see in this diagram also, which are like the Golgi bodies, lysosomes, nucleolus, nuclear pore, etc. And each has a specific function. Yeah, everything has a specific function. I will tell you further in this video only. Yeah. So the last is the part of cytoplasm other than the organelles is called cytosol, which is mainly liquid. Okay, liquid. Okay, yeah. So if we remove all these organelles, which you can see everything, okay, the matter that is present is called cytosol, and it is mainly liquid. I mean watery, as I told you, it is watery, watery, and it has water. That's what liquidy means. I mean liquid means. Yeah, that's it for cytoplasm. There are no other functions or features as such in cytoplasm. Next we'll move to nucleus. So hi friends, now I'm going to tell you about nucleus, which is the last. I mean more important parts are also there, but to be precise, it is you can say, yeah, one of the most important part, nucleus. Okay, so nucleus is a double layered membrane with some nuclear pores on it. As you can see, it is the first point also. It is surrounded by a double layered nuclear membrane with nuclear pores. Yeah, nucleus is surrounded by a double layered nuclear membrane with nuclear pores. And the second point it has semi solid substance called nucleoplasm. Yeah. So this nucleoplasm is same as cytoplasm, but it is present inside the nucleus separately, you can say, which is the special feature of nucleus. And the third most important point is it contains a network of fibers called the chromatin fibers. Now this is the nucleus. This is the nucleus present. I am going to draw it again, just for your reference. Not although that perfectly, but yeah. So inside, some fibers as well. Yeah, chromatin fibers. So inside the nucleus we have one you can say one organelle extra present, which is called the nucleolus, as you can see that's on that side. Yeah, it is the nucleolus present inside, and this is the nucleoplasm. and these pores which I drew are the nuclear pores. Now, as you know, there is many importance to this nucleus because it is the center part, it is present almost at the center of the cell, in the cytoplasm, and inside it is so important that it has a protective covering, that double membrane which we saw. It has some nuclear pores. It is almost like a small cell, you can say, a cell inside a cell. Yeah, it has all the important parts, the chromatin fibers and all, which constitute the DNA, and all the main things, the cell DNA and all is present in nucleus. Yeah, so that was some important points on nucleus. Next we'll move on to some other cell organelles which I am going to tell you right now. Yeah, so guys, now we have moved on to the final part of this video, which is about certain cell organelles. Yeah, certain other cell organelles which we can see. Yeah, so I'll name them quickly. As you can see in the diagram also, Golgi bodies, lysosomes, I'll name some of them, lysosomes, and mitochondria, cell wall is also there, which is not, I have not shown in this diagram because it is there in plant cell, as you know, and many other things are also there, nucleus, etc. Yeah, so ER, yeah, endoplasmic reticulum, endoplasmic reticulum, plastids, I'm writing quickly. Plastids are present in plant cells mostly. In ER we have smooth ER and rough ER, and we have other things also. Yeah, we have other important things also. Just let me get a duster. Yeah, we have other important things also, like the centrosome, centromere, etc. In the chromatin fibers we have them. So yeah, those are important as well, but now we will not talk about them. I'll tell you some features of some of these things, like lysosomes, intercellular digestion, meaning meaning the digestion inside the cell takes place. I'm just telling, I'm not writing, it will take a lot of time then. The digestion that takes place inside the cell is taken care by lysosomes. They also destroy their own cell, if it is repaired or injured, so that more energy is not spent by the body. That's one of their points. Mitochondria, the cell respiration, as I told you previously in the chapter, takes place in this part. I'm rushing a bit because the video is already lengthy. Cell wall, it is present in the plant cells. It provides rigidity to the plant. Endoplasmic reticulum, it is like rough and smooth ER are present on these things, on their bodies of their network. Basically they are carriers of nutrients and etc. Plastids, these give color to the plants. Green color of the plants is from plastids. They help in photosynthesis and etc. And photosynthesis, they give the green color. Chloroplast, as you might have studied in your lower grades, etc., is from this plastid only of the cell. So thank you guys for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and do comment your doubts and etc. in this video, in the comment section. Yeah, please do share the video, don't forget it.